Well, the virus has now killed more than 100 people in China, and new cases have been confirmed around the world.
So you don't want to frighten the American public.
France and South Korea have also got evacuation plans.
But you need to prepare for and assume
strongly warning Americans to avoid all non-essential travel to China.
That this is going to be a real serious problem.
France, Australia, Canada, the US, Singapore, Cambodia, Vietnam, the list goes on.
Health officials are investigating more than 100 possible cases in the US.
Germany, a man has contracted the virus.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
Japan, where a bus driver contracted the virus.
Coronavirus has killed more than 100 people there and infected more than 4,500.
We have to prepare for the worst, always, because if you don't and the worst happens.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Well, for the radio audience, you're looking at scenes. If you view the videos, scenes of mass burning of garbage trucks and public property out in Kenosha, Wisconsin, from overnight. This is breaking news. Stories not yet being shown on the national media. You can see there Black Lives Matter sign amongst the flames engulfing it from Kenosha in Wisconsin. Steve.
Yeah, this is, I got to tell you, we're going to start the show very differently, talking about the Republican convention, the compare and contrast of President Donald J. Trump and his program versus Joe Biden, or what I think we're going to referring to now as the Obama restoration versus the Trump revolution. But what's so stunning about this is that it happened last night. Now, I think it happened maybe around midnight, and it was principally, it looks like a white crowd. We've got a lot of footage that AVN is going to play today for this. We're going to go through, but no, I don't think any mainstream media. In fact, I just texted some people. It's about people I know from Kenosha. I texted some people, hey, can we reach out to these guys and get them on? And they didn't know, what are you talking about? Right. So the mainstream media has not been playing, but I think it's very important to contextualize this. Kenosha is on fire. We've got a lot of really stunning footage in that opening shot of the BLM sign with the massive fire in the background. However, this has to be contextualized. We're going to play the actual, I don't know if it's TikTok or a clip from a TV camera in a second, but I just want to tee the audience up, particularly the audience watching at home. This is quite brutal, right? This is, and we may have the hour taken down on YouTube, and we want to apologize to all of our followers who are not watching this. We'll obviously if YouTube does it. We're not doing this YouTube to incite anything. What we're trying to do is contextualize so you can put in perspective, never that rioting's thing, but I think of everything that we've seen, this is one of a black individual, black man. Somehow the police have had some sort of confrontation, but he gets into his car, right? I don't know if he's going for a gun, and he is shot, it looks like, it appears, in the back multiple times at close range by a uniformed officer, and he's got 3 small kids in the back, in the back of the car. So this is a problem, and it starts off the Republican convention here, but the reality is the reality. So I want to show if AVN can play this. Everybody in the audience, just if you don't want to see somebody gunned down, then don't watch this, because it is about as brutal, I think, as you can get in reality. So let's go ahead. America Voice, go ahead and play that.
Let's roll it.
Let's roll it. For our radio audience, what they're missing is a situation where there's some kind of confrontation or thing between a police officer and it looks like a middle-aged a black man, and or not a kid, and I guess I don't know what they're telling him to do, but he opens his car, he looks to get in, maybe he's bent down a little bit, but at point blank range, he is shot, and it looks like multiple times. So we're just observing on what we've seen on this, but it's pretty stark. And they find out that there's his 3 sons, his young sons, are in the back of the car. And then I think shortly thereafter, there was confrontations. If AVN, there's a little technical problem today with
they're rolling it.
Yeah, we can just but continue to roll the footage of this as Raheem walks you through it. Here's what I think the important part is that Kenosha is the hometown of Reince Priebus, the former chairman of the RNC, and the guy that was my partner. One of my partners in the 16 campaign, and a fantastic individual, trying to track down Reince to see if he can give us some context. It's also, I think, within the district. I think Kenosha is in the district that Paul Ryan represented. I might be wrong. I know his hometown Jamestown is, but I think he was also the congressman for Kenosha. In fact, the crowd last night, the demographics of the city, I think, is 90%. Is it 90% white, Caucasian, and 10% African American, or something like that?
It's about 77% Caucasian, 10% African American. The balance is Hispanic and some Asian.
Yeah, so it's overwhelmingly white.
And I think Trump won it by 0.16 points in 16.
Yes,
Or
it's a traditional, particularly with Jamestown. Jamestown is a traditional Union town. These are Union Democrats up there. A lot of the reason that Trump won is because of winning, over working class people like this. But if AVN later, as you go through the role, Vish, we should play and we should tee up the audience again before we play the individual getting shot because it's quite brutal. But
actually, I wanted to go to this shocking scene that Raheem pointed out. This sheriff van that's being confronted here. We're going to roll that clip. Raheem, maybe you could walk through what's going on here.
Yep. Well, let's roll the clip, AVN. And look, here you see there is a bunch of armed individuals standing outside surrounding a sheriff department vehicle. And again, all of this, ladies and gentlemen, is breaking news as we know. It's breaking across social media. We're bringing it to you as soon as it becomes available. You can see for the radio audience a large, I guess you would call it a Humvee or similar.
Yeah, it's an up-armored. An up-armored Humvee. If we had these, not even a Humvee, it's even more of an armored car, right? But if we'd had these in Iraq back in the early days, I mean, these are the ones that are really up-armored. I mean, for the radio audience, you're looking at a military vehicle, armored car, right? This kind of things, you can put the guns outside the slots or whatever. In fact, Raheem, I think in the confrontation, I don't know if we got the audio the AVN's listening to, but I mean, they're calling out, if we play that audio, I mean, these guys, remember, when people that supported President Trump went to the Wisconsin General Assembly, they were guns up, right? This is the BLM and it looks like some of the Antifa guys, and they're carrying.
Let's get AVN. Let's get the audio.
I think let's play the audio there because it's important. Calling, but it looks like the police officers throw tear gas out of the slot at the top where it's made to throw a hand grenade.
The hatch at the top.
The hatch at the top.
Yeah.
So this is a full-on confrontation. But they're surrounded by guys with weapons.
Second round in the DNC convention. It'll start in Milwaukee. Wow. And when the police push back on that, and other cities will. Doesn't get the nomination. We'll go to the second round in the DNC convention. Milwaukee. It'll start in Milwaukee. Wow. And when the police push back on that,
it's extraordinary.
Yeah. So for the radio audience, what you should know, that John Frederick, by the way, John Frederick's Radio Network, America's Voice, News, Newsmax TV, G News, GTV. You got to thank for our Chinese for putting it in Mandarin, Miles Guo and the GTV team and G News. Hey, you got to, democracy's a messy thing, and the modern world's a messy place. I realize that this is what America's putting forward as its as what's happening, but it is what's happening. You can't, this is why I go back to this discussion between systemic racism and either screening and or training, right? But look, I'm not a law enforcement guy and or a police officer. We hopefully get some law enforcement guys and police officers on the next couple of days to walk through this. But this is going to be a big one. I don't think that they're going to, this confrontation and Kenosha doesn't look like it's going to stop after one night, because I got to tell you, that's probably fierce. That makes Portland look calm, right?
Yeah, I think that's right. And we'll see, and I guess this is a name we'll hear more often now, John Antaramian, who is the mayor of Kenosha, Democratic mayor of Kenosha. We'll see what he has to say about this. But it's not like they weren't given a warning, Steve. How long ago was it? 6 months ago that Project Veritas managed to record some of the really far left, the Antifa-aligned people who were working with the Bernie Sanders people. And they said outright that parts of Wisconsin, I think they said Milwaukee originally because that was where the DNC was going to be held. They said Milwaukee will burn if they didn't get their way, if their platform wasn't adopted. Sure enough, their platform was not adopted last week, and we saw how AOC was treated. She was given the 1 minute to talk about Bernie Sanders, and that was it. The rest of the DNC was the neoconservatives and the neoliberals back again. And Kenosha is about 40 minutes south of Milwaukee. Can we hear from the Project Veritas clip? If we have that, AVN, I want to just remind people what James O'Keefe and his organization uncovered all those months ago, and I wonder why, again, that these towns around Milwaukee, despite the fact that the pandemic stopped the DNC from occurring in person proper in Milwaukee, why these places were not ready. Because this seems to me, I bet you we will find out.
You're saying why the police department's not ready.
Yeah, that's right. That this was going to happen by hook or by crook and is not related. I bet you these young majority white kids who are running around screaming Black Lives Matter, shouting things, looting stores, setting fire to things, they were going to do this anyway. Let's roll this clip.
Bernie doesn't get the nomination, or it goes to the second round at the DNC convention. Milwaukee, word. It'll start in Milwaukee, and then when the police push back on that, in other cities.
He says it'll start in Milwaukee and then move to other cities.
However, but I do want to make sure that we got to be fair here. In particular, we got a lot of the Bernie economic nationalist. That was said in regards to if Bernie doesn't win, we don't get our platform. Now there wasn't really a convention in Milwaukee. However, I noticed nothing but crickets from the Bernie people. I mean, you got nothing in that. All that was neoliberal, neocon, over the globalist project was up there, and that's what we're talking about. This is the Obama restoration, okay? You guys are not at the dance, okay? So you're not going to get a dance. So all the big talk about that, and look, we're obviously don't agree with trying to burn these cities down, but it's not even you got even a wave on TV, right? There wasn't even the MSNBC blowback or anything like that. So I don't want to, and I also don't want to tie this to what happened last night. But I see your point. It is this crowd, as you just said. I'm just observing what I've seen this morning because it was not played on mainstream media. You guys dug up from social media. Is that is a predominantly, vastly predominantly young white crowd. It looks like the Antifa guys. In fact, at first I thought they had hijacked some of the BLM stuff because it's not a traditional BLM crowd. Am I correct in that?
Well, it's not just that, right? Where that powder keg has been set up for a while now. That's the thing. They're telegraphing it. No matter if Bernie doesn't get it, this place is gonna burn. If we don't get our way, it's gonna Milwaukee will feel it. This has been now given that this incident happened, tragic incident as played by that footage. Those feelings were just ready to come out, I feel, and I think folks took advantage.
I think, Steve, you're too kind to them as well sometimes here.
No, I'm not trying to be kind.
But they were going to do this anyway, and they're using an incident with a black man as cover and as fodder for their riots that they had planned. This was premeditated in their own words. We heard it there from themselves. So I completely agree with you that footage. And by the way, we've got to get the body cam footage very quickly.
I want to find out. Can we replay AVN? And by the way, we're putting this together as we go. Can AVN replay the armored car? Because here's what's interesting: the most dangerous guys at these things in Seattle and Portland have been the John Brown Gun Club. Right now, the John Brown Gun Club are Second Amendment believers on the left, but these guys are a little more, I think, aggressive and in your face than if you compare the show of during the Virginia, the John Fredericks raid network on John Fredericks, when John Fredericks put together that mass demonstration down in Virginia about assault weapons, the assault weapons ban and the gun grabs and everything like that, they seem much less intimidating than the John Brown Gun Club who kind of come and it looks like these guys look like the John Brown Gun Club types.
And think about what they named their gun club, John Brown Gun Club. I mean, we know where this leads, right? Yeah. So.
Okay, here's what we're going to do. Hashtag War on Pandemic. We're going to, in the live stream, everybody, we're going to start the show quite differently. about the compare and contrast of these two platforms. But we were trying to cover this thing live as it goes on. We're just breaking the footage now. Haven't seen mainstream media have it on whatsoever, and CNN. I haven't even seen it on Fox yet. So maybe we've got our crew looking at it. We're going to take a short commercial break. Hashtag War and Pandemic. Want to hear your observations on this. Understand your best time to see this is now, because YouTube may be pulling this down later. Be back in a moment.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I guarantee you they'll be the most comfortable sheets you'll ever own.
With the Giza Dream Sheets, I'm getting the best sleep of my life.
They are so soft and smooth. I never slept so good.
I fall asleep faster because I'm actually comfortable.
I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable, which is why I can give you my full 10-year warranty. But I didn't stop there. My Giza sheets also include full 21-inch wide pillowcases that will fit over any pillow and deep pocket sheets that will fit over any mattress. I guarantee you the first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now. MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets are available in a variety of colors and will be the softest, most comfortable sheets you will ever own. Use the promo code and get 2 for 1 low price, plus free shipping. Giza Dreams are made with the finest, most sought-after cotton in the world. Giza cotton was once reserved for only the finest dress shirts, but is now available in Mike's Giza Dream Sheets. They feature a beautiful silky sateen weave that helps keep you cool and comfortable all night long.
With the Giza Dream Sheets, I'm getting the best rest of my life.
I love my Giza Dream Sheets. Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Use the promo code and Mike will give you a very special 2 for 1 low price and free shipping. That's right, get 2 for 1 low price and free shipping. Call or go online now.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
I sent your new prescription to the pharmacy.
Any idea how much it will cost?
You have a choice. Insurance or GoodRx?
I have insurance.
Insurance is not what it used to be. People struggle to get their prescriptions covered, and prices keep rising. I recommend GoodRx. You get free coupons to save on your prescriptions. Compare prices to find the best discounts.
GoodRx. Smart.
Stop paying too much for your prescriptions. Download the free app today.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
The Republican National Convention is actually down in Charlotte today. They're going through the platform and other things. There's a little controversy on the platform. It's the exact platform from 2016. So there's a lot going on. We're going to do a compare and contrast. We've got Sherry Markson, breaking news out of Australia. She's breaking a huge story about the Chinese Communist Party in there trying to take over the institutions of the West. Remember, the Australia is the canary in the mine shaft. So she's coming on, breaking news out of Australia. Bill Gertz is also going to be on. Bill's got an analysis of the Democratic platform and about China. We've got a lot of things about the Trump campaign. Wall Street Journal breaking a story that just came out that the Trump campaign is basing the entire election now on a bigger turnout of the white working class. So we'll get into all of that. But we've got to go to Kenosha, Wisconsin. Last night, a confrontation between protesters and police after a shooting of a individual that was caught on tape. And we want to tell our audience that we think it's necessary to add context to the protest and to the I guess you call it riot that broke out later. Never, not that it's ever justified, but you got to contextualize it about what started it. And what started it was at least it looks on tape. And Jack, you're telling me news is out that they're not. This is not. They don't have video cams on the police officers.
This is the claim of one of our viewers that they had actually stopped having body cams in that city.
In fact, I want to talk about our viewers. The reason we got this is Vish. You woke up early a.m. this morning, and we already had our audience is already given.
I woke up this morning to your sweet text, but I also woke up this morning to our audience tagging me and the team here in the footage coming out of Wisconsin, letting us know that this is happening, and if obviously plugging us the footage that we're seeing now that's not even being aired on Fox News or CNN or anywhere. Talk about
they're trying to shut this show down for a reason. Trust me. Okay, they don't want to hear your voice, and they particularly don't want to hear you partnering with Lao Beijing. That is what the Globalist Project wants to shut down 100%. This show has freaked them out. And one of the reasons is because of what the audience did last night. We get up and we got like a whole news department that's footage that the mainstream media will not put up. So this is the power. Hashtag War on Pandemic, the live stream, all Pluto TV, all the Facebook accounts that you can get it on. I don't know which ones are still up. We used to have a thing one time at 9. And the reason is we try to make this ubiquitous. Nobody's charged anything for getting this. We've always been no subscription. You just come and get this. We're trying to get as broad an audience as possible. G News and GTV, our partners that do such an amazing job of translating this. And I tell them, hey, we had Rule of Law Society special on Saturday about Hong Kong, but it got into many other things. Got into this big story about the infiltration of the CCP into the U.S. government with money. Also, the Nikki Lum Davis scandal that's now just starting to break, and I think other major thing, and the flooding. I got more thing of flooding, but here's the point: we're here to take the news and tell you tomorrow's headline today. We're trying to separate the signal from the noise, and this is not. At first, I think a lot of people thought, "Oh, this is just a way to kick off the Republican convention." No, this was caused by something. So why don't we have AVN go ahead and play, and they can just start rolling. If AVN could go ahead and play the confrontation once again, if we have that tape, I think the audience.
We're rolling B-roll right now.
Yeah, B-roll of the riot. But what I think is important when they get a break and understand, they should play once again the individual getting shot, because this shows you rioting is never justified. But you do have to contextualize all this, right? This was not something that occurred because Bernie's. It didn't occur last night because Bernie's platform was not taken, right? It just wasn't. I'm not saying that these guys were not set for this. They're not people out there.
It's a very quick response, isn't it?
It's a pretty dramatic response,
right?
But it's also a pretty dramatic. It's a pretty dramatic incident, and I think that's got to. I think it behooves us to show that.
We're gonna roll it right now.
Okay, go ahead and roll it. Watch this. If you don't like watching violence, do not watch this. This is an individual being shot at essentially point blank range. For our radio audience, it's some sort of confrontation between
sort of domestic violence case that was taking place.
It looks like domestic violence. Now it turns out, I don't want to spread rumor, but they're saying that he had stopped his car. What we're hearing, the individual stopped his car to try to break up a fight on the street.
There were two women apparently fighting off to the side of the street. He stopped to intervene, and I'm guessing that he sort of thought it was over and was attempting to leave. And remember, he had 3 small boys in the back seat of his car.
3 small children in the back of his car, and the police confronted him, and next thing you know, he's getting in. It looks like he's getting in a little low, but that's just you make the observation. But he is confronted by the police, and it looks like shot. And I don't want to, for our radio audience, I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth. But he shot at point blank range.
In the back.
In the back.
And he's still alive, I believe, at this point.
He is, and I think he's in stable condition, but he got either 5 to 7 rounds in the back.
Yeah. But, okay, so here's what... Okay. Look, we did this thing with the George Floyd killing as well, and there can be no denying that what happened to George Floyd was an absolute travesty, right? It shouldn't have happened. They shouldn't have been allowed to do what they do. You can't be dealing with someone like that. But it took months for that footage to come out, the other footage of the whole incident, right? And that's why, and I looked up Kenosha, unfortunately, it doesn't look like their officers do have body cameras. I just checked on the Kenosha News. There was a story about it back in February. So I don't know how much of this story we're going to get coming out here, but you do need to point this out about this incident too, is that when there are police officers with their guns drawn on you, what you don't do is walk away, ignore what they're telling you to do or asking you to do, and then get into your car and lean down into the bottom of your car. You just don't do it. And this is, we got to come at this from both sides.
And Steve, you've grown up in rough neighborhoods in Richmond. I come from New York City, and we've definitely had incidents where we've encountered the cops and whatnot. What sort of baffles me here, I must say, this is a tragedy as we look at it, the footage that we have right now. But I mean, you can't, when an officer has a gun drawn on you, you can't turn your back to him. You can't walk away from him. It's just, I don't think it's proper. And
it doesn't. And by the way, it doesn't behoove the officers shooting a man in the back 7 times, right? But what it does is these moments take place over the course of seconds, right? And there are split-second decisions that these people have to take into account. We're going to hear in the end of this thing that the officers saw the man. They thought he was going to grab something. He didn't have anything. It looks like he was unarmed, Jack, I think is what we're learning as well. And this is just going to be another one of those things where you say, could they have used a taser? Could they have exercised better judgment? But this isn't even anything like the George Floyd case where they're kneeling on the guy's neck for 8 minutes, right? This is a split-second decision that an officer has to make about somebody who's ignoring orders. Now, I want to come back to the rioting and the things that we saw yesterday, because here's the thing. Even these Antifa people, there's nuance within nuance. These Antifa people who are doing that there, yeah, maybe they would have voted for Bernie Sanders. But actually, just like the guy who's on camera for Project Veritas, they don't make up the whole Bernie base. They are one particular radical element.
They're the brown shirts.
Right. Exactly, and I don't want to tar all the left.
I agree. That's what I'm saying. We have a big Bernie working class.
Right.
We have a working class audience, and my only point to that is that hearing all this, I didn't hear and see any of the Bernie economic nationalists going nuts last week on the Obama restoration, and this is just a pure restoration of the globalist project. They laid it out in its brilliant color, right? And so I'm kind of shocked about where people are. We're going to get into all that, the Obama restoration versus this, but I think today, this is why I argued months ago during the murder of Mr. Floyd, or the alleged murder, the guys that go to trial, the alleged murder of Mr. Floyd. This is why I argued that I thought there should be a presidential commission on exactly this topic. Is there systemic racism? I don't happen to believe so. I don't think you guys do either. However, systemic racism versus the concept of screening, of promotion, of transfer, of training, of and rules of engagement, right? And get it all out. Let's have a national discussion of that. And I think this is going to trigger him because, okay, I see you're right. It was a split-second decision, but when you do look at the footage, it's pretty brutal, and that footage is going to be played over and over. We're starting the Republican convention today. One of the major planks is safety, law and order. He's the law and order president.
Just one thing contextually as well. We will learn more information about this, and one piece more information that has come out just in recent minutes is that the man who was shot may have been known to police and may actually already have a police history. And we're looking into that right now, but it does look like that is the case.
The other thing that they're confirming this morning is that none of the Kenosha police officers have body cams. They passed a resolution to put them in the budget 3 years ago, but it cost $200,000, and the city council could never come up with the money.
What is the and there was no federal money, I take it, to do that. What's the current status? He is in stable condition.
That's what they're saying.
If he's in stable condition, and now we've played the footage twice, if he's in stable condition of taking a police revolver at point blank range, is it 5 slugs?
He's a lucky man.
He's
in quotation marks lucky.
But I don't know how you're in stable condition after that. So it's pretty that's pretty tough. Maybe their definition of stable condition is pretty broad. Okay, we want to hear everything from #WarRoomPandemic. It's you guys that gave us this amazing footage and got us up there. Do we have Drew Hernandez? Maybe we can come back with Drew Hernandez's video.
Trying to lock him down.
Yeah, if we can't get him on, he's done such a fantastic job here. I think he's got a little compilation.
All the footage we have is of his.
As of Drew's? Okay, fine. We're going to take a short commercial break. We want to hear your voice in the live stream. Others, this is all breaking news. out of Kenosha, Wisconsin. It is, it's a terrific little town. It's a town that President Trump barely carried, I think, in 16. And it was one of the keys to the victory in Wisconsin. It was carrying those towns, those union towns, working class towns like Kenosha, that gave us, a very thin victory in Wisconsin. If President Trump hopes to cover it again, you've got to do it again. So this is War and Pandemic. We're going to come back and get into more of what the difference between the Republican National Convention and the Democratic. Also, for the pandemic audience, we got the vaccine in China. We've got everything to be back.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I guarantee you they'll be the most comfortable sheets you'll ever own.
With the Giza Dream Sheets, I'm getting the best sleep of my life.
They are so soft and smooth. I never slept so good.
I fall asleep faster because I'm actually comfortable.
I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable, which is why I can give you my full 10-year warranty. But I didn't stop there. My Giza sheets also include full 21-inch wide pillowcases that will fit over any pillow and deep pocket sheets that will fit over any mattress. I guarantee you the first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now. MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets are available in a variety of colors and will be the softest, most comfortable sheets you will ever own. Use the promo code and get 2 for 1 low price, plus free shipping. Giza Dreams are made with the finest, most sought-after cotton in the world. Giza cotton was once reserved for only the finest dress shirts, but is now available in Mike's Giza Dream Sheets. They feature a beautiful silky sateen weave that helps keep you cool and comfortable all night long.
With the Giza Dream Sheets, I'm getting the best rest of my life.
I love my Giza Dream Sheets.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Use the promo code and Mike will give you a very special 2 for 1 low price and free shipping. That's right, get 2 for 1 low price and free shipping. Call or go online now.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now to give you deep discounts, not just on my pillows, but also my mattress topper, sheets, and so much more. For example, you can get body pillows regularly $89.99, only $29.99 with your promo code. With our 60-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose. Sleep well, America!
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Welcome back, War and Pandemic. A lot of breaking news. We've got Sherry Markson's going to join us in the next segment about breaking news out of Australia. We got Bill Gertzen about the Democratic Party relationship to China. We're going to go through a whole analysis of that. We've got also new information out of Wisconsin, Mr. Raheem Kassam.
Yeah, so this is, as we said when we brought the show in, everything's breaking here as per this case. Now, the man in question who you saw being shot, I think it was up to 7 times in the back as he enters his car by Kenosha police, was Jacob S. Blake. And a man called Jacob S. Blake, of the same age with an address on the same block where this shooting occurred, had a warrant issued for him on July 7th on pending accusations of misdemeanor criminal trespass to a dwelling with domestic abuse as a modifier, felony third-degree sexual assault with domestic abuse as a modifier, and misdemeanor disorderly conduct with domestic abuse as a modifier. A support action was dismissed, and the only other case that comes up is for not having a driver's license. This man appears to have been known to police, and there are previous charges against Jacob Blake as well in Racine, the Racine Eye newspaper, describing an incident where the accused is said to have pulled a gun at a local bar and faced charges as a result of that. So what we can surmise from this is that while we're seeing just seconds of a clip, before that clip, I mean, the police already have their guns drawn in those videos, would suggest that the police had known this person, knew the car, run the plates, and were trying to execute the warrant on this man.
Okay, as we get more information on this, we've been told we can't run the clip anymore. That's fine. We ran it, and probably, guys, we told our audience, and particularly our radio audience, if you're maybe not going to be able to get it on YouTube later, they may pull it down. But we thought it was important to contextualize what happened. The riot itself is quite violent, and it's very confrontational with the police. Police, one time, in an armored vehicle, and I mean a really armored vehicle, and are surrounded by guys with a crowd. I don't want to call it a mob, but let's call it a mob with looks like high-powered weapons, and they throw tear gas out, so they're surrounded. So it's a big confrontation in Kenosha last night. I want to thank our audience for giving us the information. Now we got so much to...
I just also do want to thank the Citizen Free Press website, because they're the ones that aggregated that information just now, so I just wanted to give them credit. That's fantastic.
By the way, it's the Bongino Report, the Citizens Free Press, Revolver, National Pulse. These sites are the emerging hot tickets now that all breaking news. Of course, Gateway pundit Michael Patrick Leahy and the Star, the Virginia Star, a must-read with John Fredericks and the guys. So just incredible news gathering apparatus out there. I want to go to the signal and the noise. We warned we're going to get now into the pandemic part. A lot of breaking news. President Trump thought it was important enough last night to have a press conference on a Sunday, late Sunday afternoon, early Sunday evening, to announce some developments. But I think the most important development of everything that happened last night, we'll turn over to Jack Maxey, is the Chinese announced that they've got, guess what, a vaccine. They're putting people on a vaccine. It already looks like they're trying to muscle. You know, there's reports out saying in the Philippines, they're telling the Philippine government, you'll get the vaccine, but you also got to tell us that you agree with our ownership of the South China Sea, right? The 7 dots. So and this should not be a surprise to this audience. Miles Guo, the controversial Miles Guo, said on the show on the Saturday special, I think 2 or 3 months ago. This was back a ways. He says they're never going to give you the real genome sequence, right? Dr. Yan supported that when she came out. She's a defector out of Hong Kong. He says they're never going to give that to you because what they want to do is get on top of a vaccine and then come forward to the world and say, hey, we're the saviors of the world. You got to kowtow to us because the Chinese system, the Chinese authoritarian system works worse than the messy democracies of the West. And so this weekend, as you're now kicking off on this Monday for the Republican convention, which is in Charlotte, but basically it'll be up here starting this evening, you've got the fires burning in Kenosha versus President Xi handing out vaccines throughout the world to save people. Now, there's a little, obviously with the Chinese Communist Party, there's always a catch, right? And Dr. Yan and others are telling us, hey, you have no earthly idea if this thing has been tested. We're hearing already it never actually went to a broad test. You don't know if it's this whole controversy about France 24. The TV network is reporting that the first guys that got it went throughout the world and are sick, right? So this is the typical, Chinese Communist Party propaganda play. But I think, Jack, I'm going to turn it over to you. We got a lot of pandemic news. And Mark Levin had Dr. Harvey Risch from Yale Yale. It was fantastic. We've got a lot on hydroxy, which I still don't understand why we're not having. I thought the press conference yesterday is about hydroxy as a preventative. That's what I want to see this week. Jack, I'm going to turn it over to you. Get us up to speed on everything that's going on.
It never happens. Some good news actually out of Manila. The Philippine defense minister said today that he completely rejects any of Chinese claims in the South China Sea. So maybe they're not convinced that you guys have the proper vaccine. Now, I had the great pleasure of
But they also may have the courage to say, hey, even if you have a vaccine, we're not going to kowtow to you. This is, the vaccine is one thing, but this is something else. So I hope the Filipinos, who have been allies for ours since World War II, hang tough.
I think they're starting to wake up. And one of the things that we talk about, this Chinese vaccine, quotation marks, they've apparently been working on several of them from when I spoke to Dr. Yan this morning. One of the problems, though, that's interesting to me is that the Chinese are also apparently in negotiation to see if they can get the vaccine from the Russians. And they've also apparently been talking to the guys at Oxford. So they're keeping their doors open. And from what I understand from Dr. Yan, there's probably tremendous doubt as to whether or not the Chinese have the ability to mass produce these vaccines in quantities that are large enough. Now, one of the things that she told me, and we had read about this in open sources a few weeks ago, that the Chinese had given this to several thousands of their military personnel. And we had heard that about 80% of those people who received the vaccine had secondary problems, mild flu symptoms, etc. But I also heard from Dr. Yan this morning that she has heard from her contacts in Beijing that several people had devastating reactions to this vaccine, some of whom were paralyzed by having taken the vaccine. Now, one of the problems that we've seen with these coronavirus vaccines, certainly the attempt that we made to create a SARS-1 vaccine, which lasted more than a decade of research, it actually ultimately failed. The Chinese tried to do run a test of it. It didn't work. In the animal models, it actually created an overwhelming immune response that was actually worse than the virus itself. So there's very many questions as to how effective these vaccines are going to be. There's a very interesting story out of Hong Kong University today where they describe a woman who was reinfected with the COVID-19 virus. Now, she had the original strain. Apparently, she was reinfected with this mutated strain that seems to be more widely prevalent now than the original.
She was infected with the original bioweapon.
Right. And now she's been reinfected with the mutated version of the original bioweapon.
This is something that's got to be watched closely. Bill Gertz has just sent me, so he's going to have some very strong opinions about this. He thinks this may be part of a disinformation campaign. Remember, the Hong Kong University, Dr. Gabriel Lun has been fantastic, although the defector, Dr. Yan, is from that same lab and saying, hey, this thing is totally compromised by the CCP. And the WHO doesn't do a good job. So Bill Gertz is going to be on here later saying this may, because think about it. If this is true and we back this up, then you've got to really start thinking through how do you open up things, right? Well,
and the other thing is, I talked to Dr. Yan about this morning too. As we're seeing with this virus, we know that it mutates. We've got half a dozen other coronaviruses that flow around every year as part of the flu season. They're very difficult to target even within the flu vaccine because these viruses tend to mutate in ways that allow them to get around the immune response from the vaccine. We're also seeing around the world reporting that this vaccine may not have immunity for more than maybe 6 months to a year. So you begin to wonder whether or not this vaccine is actually going to be even efficacious.
I also think from a political point of view, we'll get into this later, maybe in the political side, I'm not so sure President Trump's driving forward like this is a huge winner for him. I got to tell you, a not small portion of President Trump's base is anti-vax, right? And these are hardcore. Somebody just sent me a YouTube debate between Kennedy and Dershowitz. I haven't seen the whole thing, but Kennedy's on fire on this thing. Project Warp Speed. It then gets to the whole question: are they doing all the things that they should be doing? You're already hearing blowback on that. You've got the Russians, you've got the Chinese, you got all these guys. Everybody's going to be coming with a vaccine. Who knows how it's been tested? Who knows? And then Virginia, the Commonwealth of Virginia, over the weekend, or maybe it was on Friday, I think that the health commissioner, who when you actually look at this is an unelected official, he actually has, dictator-like powers, at least the way it was presented, in a public health crisis, if so deemed by the governor, to actually have mandatory vaccine. If they do mandatory vaccinations, this is going to be, we're going to have to really walk through that. War room pandemic will be going on for a while.
Well, one of the things that's so interesting about this lack of efficaciousness amongst these vaccines is now people are starting to talk about this idea of, I got vaccinated, so I should be able to travel, or I have shown to have the antibodies, so I should be able to travel. They say this is a total canard. This will have no effect anymore because if it's now proven that these antibodies don't really last, or especially in people over 65 who are most vulnerable to this virus, they may have almost zero.
What's the best
immune
clips?
response.
Last night, Harvey Risch, who was on Laura Ingraham, but I have to say, Jack Maxey made him a star. And the reason was you gave him forever to talk. Not that these guys didn't do great jobs, but you gave him, he'd be on a half hour and actually had a chance as a Yale professor to kind of walk through the logic, and you really got a grasp. I think it's one of the reasons the audience, and when I tip our hat to the audience, you guys made Dr. Risch a superstar. He is now the man. What's the best clip? Do we have a great clip from Risch that we can go to?
Yeah, AVN, as soon as you can get clip 6 ready. But this is Dr. Harvey Risch on Levin last night, and he basically describes the whether HCQ hydroxychloroquine is effective and where the evidence stands. So let's
so we can play that.
So AVN, let's roll clip 6. Oh, maybe
AVN's on vacation this morning.
Okay, no, they're doing it, but it's just give us a heads up on it.
One of the things though that he did say.
One thing I want to go to for every time. Plasma. What was the big deal about the president coming out yesterday and doing this dramatically? Was it optics, or is there something there?
I think it was optics, and one of the things that is really kind of worrisome for the people who are deep inside this, they were hopeful that maybe they would provide an EUA for ivermectin, which has now been shown to be quite valuable, and instead they came out with this plasma treatment. Now, here's the great irony about this plasma treatment. There are no significant double-blind studies on this. One of the reasons being is that all the people who would be enrolled in the program, when they find out that, like, hey, half of you are going to get treated and half of you are not, they're like, screw that, I want the plasma. So they're having a very difficult time being able to provide this double-blind analysis. But the thing that I find most ironic about this plasma thing, in the 1917, 18, 19 pandemic, right, the only thing that they were able to come up with was plasma treatments. This was done in an unregulated basis in almost every military hospital, every public hospital in North America. There really was never any great evidence that it actually worked well. And, obviously we know that each hospital was spinning out the plasma different than others. We're talking 100 years ago. But I find it kind of shocking with all the advances that we have made in the last 100 years. We are falling back on the same exact, in quotations, treatment that we came up with in 1918.
Okay, we're going to take a short commercial break. Want all the comments, observations, clips, anything you got, #WarrenPandemic. Go to the site, go to our Twitter feed, and also the live stream. We're going to take a short commercial break. Go to Australia next. Sherry Markson when we return.
The hottest new razor is taking the men's grooming world by storm. And if you don't have it, you need it. Micro Touch Solo, the hyper-advanced full-body razor that trims, shapes, edges, and even shaves with micro precision. And it's totally safe to the touch. Go solo for full body control with one tool. No nicks, bumps, or ingrown hairs. Edge beards and goatees with one touch. Clean your neck, barber shop perfect. And check this out. Snap on the guide to tame growth and perfectly shape your full beard. And keep new growth stubble trimmed exactly to your style. And look, the Solo Full Body Groomer trims precisely the length of hair you want. Snap off the guide and remove unwanted hair anywhere in seconds. What makes Solo different than your ordinary razor? Dual-sided German stainless steel blade. Shave up or down at 200 microstrokes per second. The Ultra Flex pivoting head contours perfectly to you for precise results. 3 custom grooming guides for control of exact length and shape. And a built-in LED light so you never miss a spot. Solo is so precise, you need no creams, no soaps, and no water. Ditch the old man clippers and toss the scissors. You've got to go solo. Call 1-800-709-9777 or go online at microtouchsolo.com and get yours now for only $19.99. Complete with German stainless steel blade, pivoting head, built-in spotlight, and 3 custom grooming guides. Everything you see here for just $19.99. The all-new MicroTouch Solo Full Body Groomer. the one tool that does it all.
Do you have any idea how your mattress affects your body and how well you sleep? Is it too hard or too soft, causing you to wake up with sore shoulders, back, or hips? Are you uncomfortable because you're too hot or too cold? Now you can get the total body support you need and the better sleep you want with the new MyPillow mattress topper.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell. When I invented my new MyPillow mattress topper, I made it to have everything you'd ever want in a topper. My mattress topper helps give you the support you need, helps relieve your pressure points, and regulates your body temperature for you as an individual. It comes with a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry the cover. It's made in the USA, and I back it with my 60-day money-back guarantee.
My Pillow Topper delivers on its promise to give me a better night's sleep.
Call now to get your very own MyPillow mattress topper. Use the promo code and Mike will give you 30% off and 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free. Order now.
I personally guarantee it's going to change your bed into the most comfortable bed you'll ever own.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Welcome back to War Room Pandemic. A lot of breaking news, not just the Republican convention, what's happening up in Wisconsin, but now I want to turn and go to one of the top reporters out there, Sherry Markson from the Telegraph in Australia, and just absolutely incredible breaking news she does all the time. Audience favorite. Sherry, thank you for joining us. Let's go to this investigative report you've been doing on the 1,000 Talents program. Tell the audience what it is and then walk us through the story, because we've made this argument that the Chinese Communist Party is deeply rooted into the institutions of the West, and Australia is the canary in the mine shaft. You know, Clive Hamilton has this new book out called Hidden Hand, which is really taking the book he did with Silent Invasion from a couple of years ago that showed how deeply the Chinese Communist Party had gotten into Australian society, and he's really expanded that now to a global presence, taking London and the United States and showing how it is. Your reporting has been at the cutting edge of this. Can you walk us through the story?
Yeah, of course. So this is one of 200 Chinese government talent recruitment programs, the 1,000 Talents Plan. And what they do is they target academics and also entrepreneurs, but in my reporting I've been focusing on academics. They target them globally. They recruit them. They have to sign legally binding contracts under which they receive, it can be quite extraordinarily large amounts of money, salaries, plus research grants that can stretch into the millions, perks for their spouse, tuition for their kids, even housing subsidy. In turn, they have to patent their inventions and research in China. So the intellectual property gets owned by China. Now, the biggest concern about this program from an FBI perspective, from national security experts, is that it can be quite a serious national security threat, because research from American academics or Australian academics can be misused to advance China's modernization of its military. It can be misused for weapons development. And then there's also the question of lost opportunities when it comes to commercialization, because this is basically IP theft.
Here, are these people already in universities? Are they already somehow supported by taxpayers? Are they at companies that are supported by investors, and these are side deals, or these are deals that may override what they already owe to their public institutions? Can you walk us through, when they say these 1,000 talents and the CCP, Chinese Communist Party, is coming with new cash for their research or new cash for their work, is that overriding either taxpayers in Australia or companies that are supported by Australian or global investors?
Absolutely, and that's the problem. That goes to the heart of it. These academics are meant to be full-time at an Australian university or an American university, or indeed a company if you're looking at the entrepreneurs, and yet they're signing these separate contracts, legally binding contracts, under which their inventions, their research will end up being owned by China. And the biggest problem, as you point out just there, is when taxpayer money funding through the form of grants. In Australia, it's Australian Research Council grants. In the US, you've got your National Science Foundation, the NIH. If American money is going towards these academics, and yet actually American taxpayer money is helping to advance China's military through this program, that's a problem. And what's so concerning about the contract is that they often have a clause that states that the academic needs to abide by China's legal system, even if you're living in America or Australia. And also some of them say that they have to abide by their religious practices as well, which is really quite extraordinary.
What here's the issue is this all disclosed at the time when they signed these up? I mean, how did you walk us through how you got the information that exposed this on such a broad scale? And is there more out there you don't think you know? In other words, was this institutionally? Because there's a question about personal corruption and institutional corruption. Are the institutions looking the other way and allowing this to happen, knowing it's happened? Are these individuals?
Look, this is such a big problem, and it goes to the infiltration of the Chinese Communist Party in our university sectors, in our science sectors, and indeed in our companies, although I haven't gone to that area yet. But, you guys are really ahead of this. There's been a US Senate report done just in November last year. Your FBI director, Christopher Wray, gave a speech about this program and other threats from China at the Hudson Institute in July 2020, so just last month. And he highlighted just how big a problem this is. He said it's even linked to economic espionage. None of this is out in the open. I mean, you've had that famous case of the Harvard University professor Charles Lieber, who's been indicted for failing to disclose that he was receiving money from a Chinese institution when he was meant to be full-time at Harvard. So this is all operating behind the scenes. It's operating in the shadows. Very few cases are properly disclosed. We contacted every Australian university as part of our investigation and said, how many people do you have who are in the 1,000 Talents plan? And the majority were unable to answer. Whether that's because they don't know the full number, the academics aren't disclosing it to them, or whether it's because they also weren't being transparent to us. The point is, none of this is in the public domain. So, I've over the past few months been researching with the help of some amazing people who unfortunately can't be named, but they speak Mandarin, and they've been helping me trawl through Chinese language websites and archiving the pages, because maybe your viewers and listeners can't imagine, but when you start contacting these academics, very quickly websites start getting pulled down in China. Everything starts getting censored. So you've got to make sure that every web page you need as you're investigating this, you archive. Otherwise, the information will be permanently lost.
Sherry, can we ask you to stay over for the next segment? We're going to start a new episode here, but we want to go back to your reporting on the Five Eyes intelligence and about the Wuhan lab, because now, as you know, things are breaking all the time on that. This new book out of Italy with Professor Giuseppe Tritto that confirms what you reported. So if you could stay with us, we're going to take a short commercial break. From Australia live, we have Sherry Markson, one of the top investigative reporters in the world, on the Chinese Communist Party, day in and day out. We're going to take a short break. We'll return with War Room Pandemic. Want to get everybody in hashtag War Room Pandemic, everybody on the live stream, all the Facebook sites, on Pluto TV, G News, GTV, Newsmax, on the John Fredericks Radio Network, on americasvoice.news, Dish Channel 219. We're everywhere. We're ubiquitous. We're going to return to Australia with Sherry Markson in just a moment.
Brett Favre, legendary quarterback. Jerry Rice, legendary wide receiver.
You ready for your weekly meeting?
Yeah, we're ready.
Let's do this. Let's stack the deck.
When legends play, they wear Copperfit Advanced Back Pro. Copperfit's best-selling compression back support just got better with new double-band adjustable supports for customizable compression when you need it most.
Since I put this on, I feel so much better. The core is the most important thing. To know that I'm stabilized here. Whatever I'm doing, I can give it 100%.
4 built-in stabilizing supports designed to improve posture and help reduce lower back stress and strain.
You have back pain, and it's affecting your everyday life. You do something.
If you can find something to help you get back out and be active, like CopperFit, go for it.
Absolutely.
Do not give up.
A high-performance compression fabric infused with the powerful properties of copper, 360-degree flexible mobility, and lightweight, durable construction.
Nothing more painful than having back pains. If you're aching, if you feel like you can't work out anymore, you can. And that's with CopperFit.
Yeah. It's for all of us who still want to be active, still want to compete.
Way to go. That's what I'm talking about. Man, this really does feel good. It feels to me like the fountain of youth.
CopperFit's best-selling back support just got bigger, badder, and better. Or call 1-800-944-5851. Or on the web at advancedbackpro.com. Get yours now for only $19.99.
This does feel good.
That's what I've been saying.
You think it was fair?
It was fun.
Play for the love of the game.
CopperFit. Live limitless.